Hi there, welcome to Movie Mount TV with me, Maktunu Brian, the third session of Amazon's fantasy series, The Lord of the Rings of Power marks a dramatic narrative shift. Jumping forward 5 years after the disastrous fall of Eregion, the deceptive games of Annatar are over and the war for Middle-earth has entered an overt brutal phase. Operating from his formidable new fortress of Barad-dûr, Sauron has shared his disguises to reign as an undisputed dark warlord. His primary focus is no longer subtle manipulation but absolute military conquest. Across the continent, the three kingdoms scramble to organize a unified defense against a relentless military machine that threatens to engulf every realm in permanent darkness.
How would you like to rise with it?
At the absolute center of the Sauron's agenda during this dark chapter is the construction of his ultimate weapon, the One Ring. Deep within the subterranean heat of the Mount Doom, he works tirelessly to craft the singular ring designed to bend all other rings of power and the minds of those who wear them to his absolute willpower. This overarching master plan creates an agonizing race against time for the rulers of Middle-earth. The elves and their allies quickly realize that if Sauron completes this master ring, while his armies lay siege to the remaining territories, all hope for resisting his tyranny will be extinguished forever.
There are no friends of Mordor here.
Having acquired the 9 rings meant for mortal men, Sauron begins distributing them to powerful kings and leaders across the human realms, promising unmatched longevity and authority. The season intimately documents the initial tragic stages of these men succumbing to the ring's corrupting influence. This figure is referred to early on as the Nazgûl, or ring servants, slowly sacrifice their humanity in exchange for raw power. Viewers watch their painful transformation unfold step by step, laying the tragic foundation for these proud human leaders to eventually wither into the terrifying phantom-like Nazgûl that will haunt Middle-earth for thousands of years to come.
Has it not yet occurred to you? Death might well be the price of saving it.
Against this terrifying onslaught, the Elven leaders attempt to rally their remaining forces around their last standing sanctuaries. With much of the continent overrun, High King Galad Elrond and Galadriel work fantastically to fortify the coastal haven of Lindon and newly established hidden valley of Rivendell. The war takes a deeply personal turn for Galadriel, with the dramatic return of her long-lost husband, Celeborn, who rejoins the struggle after years of separation. Together they attempt to hold the line against massive siege forces, though internal grief and the lingering trauma of past defeats constantly threaten to fracture their fragile alliance.
The ring of power. One ring to rule.
Meanwhile, the magical and underground realms face their own pivotal battles that will shape the fate of the war. The stranger steps fully into his heroic identity as Gandalf, stepping onto the front lines of the diplomacy and combat to unite desperate factions against the shadow. Deep underground in Khazad-dûm, King Durin IV struggles to maintain order amidst political instability and severe economic hardship following the loss of their former king. The Dwarves must decide whether to seal their gates to survive or march to the aid of the Elven neighbors, all while trying to avoid waking the ancient fiery Balrog sleeping in the dark deposits.
Now is the mighty hour come.
Far across the sea, the proud island kingdom of Númenor continues its tragic descent into division and expansionist tyranny. Imperial forces expand their military footprint onto the mainland, establishing fortified outposts and reckless stripping ancient forests near Pelagay for timber to build their expanding war fleets. This reckless environmental destruction threatens to draw the ancient Ents out of their quiet seclusion and directly into the world conflict. As Númenor's political leadership decays from within and military tensions escalate along the coast, the stage is set for catastrophic ruin, proving that Sauron's corrupting influence reaches far beyond the boundaries of Mordor.